these players are just ready for the next game. Teechu with the aggro hunter.
Yeah.
He's going to be going second. He's
Wow.
going to be, as soon as we get in there, we'll see his mulligans.
Yeah, I mean, we have him with a double mad scientist. I would be tempted to keep them both. I think they're quite strong in the early game, but he tosses one of them. Tosses the Buzzard Unleashed combo against what he presumes to be a Miracle Rogue.
Yeah, considering he has the coin, I would also have been really tempted to keep both mad scientists and just play them on turn 1, 2. But he picks up an Animal Companion, which is really, really powerful. Definitely the type of card you want to have.
Uh-oh, Quickies with nothing.
Quickies with nothing. He has the promise of power if he were to ever draw the Auctioneer. He's got Prep and Conceal. That's the dream, but the Auctioneer has not arrived yet.
Right.
Teechu will have very much the initiative here in this game. He will very much be the aggressor.
A very good turn 1, 2, 3 curve. The Scientist is the Bluegill into the Animal Companion. Oh, Quickies is running Sinister Strike, which is another dead card here.
Yeah, Quickies doesn't have a lot of cheap early removal yet. Nothing to speak of it. Even that Bluegill Warrior looks like it's going to represent a lot of damage if he has to use his hero power to kill it.
I mean, something that's even worse for Quickies here is his plan is, of course, going to be to hit the 2-2 and then hit the 2-1. But the problem is, here comes a Bluegill Warrior, which is another card he wanted to hit with a dagger.
Yeah.
This is like dagger overload.
Once he sees the Bluegill Warrior crash into his face, if that's what happens, Quickies is going to be hoping he draws Fan of Knives, or else you might even think that he is going to start dying really fast.
Right. Oh, Teechu here is actually considering playing the hero ability because he's thinking that he could be up against Fan of Knives. He chooses to play the Bluegill Warrior instead. I liked how he thought about that.
It's worth a consideration, and it shows that he has a good understanding of the matchup. He sort of weighed the odds, and he decided that it was better to play the Bluegill in the end. That may be right, and as it turns out, Quickies doesn't have the Fan of Knives, so it's going to work out.
Right. Teechu, actually, his choice to bring the Face Hunter here is different from a lot of the players. Like, you're going to see a lot of Standard Hunter being played, and Quickies probably expected it. That's why he brought Paladin, which he thought was strong against the usual Hunter deck.
I think that Paladin deck has a good chance against the Face Hunter as well. I think that was a really close game that we saw. It was down to Teechu's last resources to finish him off, and he barely got there. But it didn't work out, and now it's down to yet another game where this Hunter aggro deck is doing all the damages.
Sinister Strike being thrown, not going to really affect the matchup that much, but who knows? Quickies might be able to put together some sort of Leroy rush the Rush Hunter down.
Maybe he's thinking that's his only way to win. He's sort of playing the hand he's got, and he knows that he has Leroy Eviscerate Shadow Step. Leog doesn't quite have haste yet. Maybe they'll change that someday. I think Huffer's probably gonna remain the only one with charge.
All right. Well, Quickies picks up Edwin Van Fleet with a 6/6. That's looking pretty promising. Conceal. He is really going for the face here.
He is really, his hand is very all in, and he's playing it very all in. If he draws Auctioneer next turn, he might regret it, but if he doesn't, he'll feel vindicated that he played his hand the best he could with what he had.
One of the traditional counters to Miracle Rogue, by the way, has been this Face Hunter deck, which you have just not seen that much of as of late. Probably because you haven't seen that much Miracle Rogue, but when you watch this and you see like how much, one of the big counters to Miracle Rogue is just the ability to pressure them. And when you see this amount of pressure, you're like, oh man, how's he stand a chance?
So, Quickies gets a really important card here. One of either Fan of Knives or Blade Flurry he absolutely had to have any chance. He gets the Blade Flurry. It's still really Teechu's game at this point, but Quickies at least has a chance.
That's right. Secret is Freezing Trap. Ooh, that's going to sting against that Edwin Van Fleet.
If it were something like Explosive, he could theoretically win next turn. Unfortunately, it's not.
Got the Unleash Buzzard combo, which is not very good against the Miracle Rogue. He may just decide to play it as is right now.
His opponent is sitting there at 11. This is definitely a tough choice for Teechu. He has to decide. His opponent only has 2 cards. He has to decide if he just goes all in and pushes as much damage as he can and taps the top of his deck and says, "Give me what I need."
He's going to go for it. Unleash the Hound. Hunter's Mark on the 6/6.
I think Hunter's Mark is probably a good choice. Even though you have the Freezing Trap, you don't have the win yet.
Right.
And so if you clear that out, you'll also be able to have Freezing Trap for whatever they play next. And just hero power forever.
There is also some merit, which is why he's debating about just sending the 1/1 into the face.
It was worth consideration. And he is very close to killing his opponent, who's only at 11.
Right.
But again, I feel like the only way, if I were in the Hunter's shoes, I would feel like the only way I could lose is sort of by letting him potentially have 6 damage.
Teechu looking good. The starting Buzzard survives. Oh, we got Buzzard Web Spinner. That's going to give him the fuel he needs.
It's going to be a lot of cards in hand. He has a lot of cards that do a lot of damage. Let's see what he picks up here.
Even without, you already had 9 damage. Eaglehorn Bow, that's definitely going to get played. No, Animal Confetti, maybe that's going to
You could just draw the whole rest of the deck if he wanted to, but he figures
damage.
he's got enough damage.
Yep. Get the 6 damage with the bow guaranteed.
Yeah. Again, Fireball, usually good enough even just by itself. Quickies, he's got Leroy Shadow Step Cold Blood, but even that, even if the trap were snake traps, he'd be one short distance.
Yep. Fails to Shadow Step the Freezing Trap. It's like, here, let me do that for you.
So he sees it now, the writing is on the wall. He decides to go for the honorable schedule.
It was really hard to find self-lethal there, I think. Good job.
Teechu with the Aggro Hunter. That's the first Aggro Hunter we've seen. I wonder if we'll be seeing any more of those. It's an interesting way to approach this metagame.
I wonder if the other players are quivering in their boots because they brought the standard Hunter, which I think is slightly disfavored against this face Hunter deck.